Peace and blessings. Namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today, and we're just going to ignore this, okay, what is going on right now, for the simple fact that I have been at this for hours trying to look tribal or for this cultural photo shoot, okay, and because I know zero about makeup outside of eyeliner and lipstick, this is about the best that I could come up with. Okay. I have no piercings in my face. Everything is fake. All right. But um, if you are a watcher, if you are a subscriber of mine and you understand makeup and you can help me maybe with some tribal looks for this photo shoot, like dots and stuff like that, that I should put somewhere, please put it in my comments or send me a tutorial or something, because right now, this is what we got. This is it. It's not that important. This message is, though. Now, the message that I'm getting ready to send out is for prophets. Okay? Prophets and prophetesses. And the reason why this was important is because, we as a collective, a lot of times we get together, and we have conference calls and we have collective text messages and things like that. And what's happening is within our collectives, everybody's not getting the same prophecies, okay? There are some beings that are getting, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to happen. And then there's others of us where when we tap in, we're getting none of that's happening. Okay. And that has happened before, with me. Certain individuals have asked me about EBSs and things of that nature. And I was always getting, this is not going to happen. Okay. But a lot of other people are getting, oh, this definitely is going to happen. All right. And I don't want this to be a thing of confusion where it's like, okay, one is a false prophet and one is not, because that's not what's going on right now. And I'm going to help you discern what is going on right now. It is and has everything to do with your contract, okay? The experience that you are having or the mission that you have signed up for. All right? Doesn't mean that one being is so much greater or higher than the other because they're not experiencing the same things, okay? So let's get rid of that, because I will tell you something. It takes a very strong, high-dimensional being to be in the belly of the beast, okay? Because they have to face way more opposition than what others have to do. All right. So to some of you prophets, let's just call it the doom and gloom prophets, right? The ones that have to monitor the military, the one that has to monitor the medical facilities, the government facilities and things like that. And you're coming across to a lot of people as just bearing bad news or being negative and things like that because they don't feel like it's going to happen on their timeline. Ignore it. If it has been downloaded to you in your consciousness through spirit, then it is meant for you to speak it, whether people want to hear it or not, or rather they're going to experience it or not. All right. So this is okay. And you don't need to feel like you have to compare yourself with somebody else. Okay. I sit with, some of my group, and some of them are very much into what's going on with the tectonic plates and volcanoes and things like that, right? And when I tap in, I'm being told you ain't got nothing to do with that. You need to focus on this, or I won't get any of that. Focus on this. Now, this is what is happening and why you need to be okay with this. Some of us have volunteered to go through the dark hour, okay? And they volunteered to go through the dark hour basically to try to save as many souls as they possibly can before they actually transition over to, okay? So they're going to be in the dark hour along with humanity for a certain amount of time. There will be protection for them too, okay? But only the divine knows the cutoff time for these beings. Right now, if they're getting the messages to prophesy about the incoming days, okay, and you come across these messages, you might need to listen to them. They are for you. All right. Now, I used to be one of those too, okay? But here's what happens, and here's what, is very difficult for me to understand. I mean, not to understand, but for me to explain. The other half of us who are not getting any downloads about, what's coming on with the military FEMA camps and all of that stuff, right? And we're being told to prophesy what we are given. It's because we are partnering with the other group, but we're creating the new earth simultaneously while the other group is cleaning the old earth. Okay, does this make sense? All right. The reason why it is being done like this is because it becomes chaos and helter-skelter when one system is completely destroyed, but there's nothing else to fall back on. All right. We run the risk of even losing the elect during this time, the chosen ones during this time, because if you got that much confusion and that much chaos, it makes it very, very difficult for you to hear from the divine. So systematically, there's a group of us who are creating and building at the same time, where there's another group of us that is warning and professing. All right. Now, I'm amazed right now that I'm not with the group that's warning and professing, because I have been groomed for it since I was young. I honestly thought that in the last days that I would be on the front lines in battle. Okay. And I had been preparing for battles. Okay. But here's what happened. And I'm just coming to this understanding myself. Okay. So, it's difficult for me to explain because it's still a little bit difficult for me to understand. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you about that. I'm still asking questions about this particular situation, but here's what's happening. A lot of the things, okay, that is, going on right now that these prophets, these end time prophets are speaking of, that is supposed to come into pass. I was speaking of these things 10 to 15 years ago. Now you're going to say, how was that possible? Because the stuff is just now manifesting now. And I'm going to answer you and say, I don't know. I'm still confused about it a little bit myself, but I just know that this happened. Okay. So around the 80s and the 90s, when William Cooper came out, in the early 2000s, and David Icke and them, and the Children of the Matrix, and all of those books came out, I was on the front line then. Okay. And I was one of the ones that was, hanging out at the No bookstores and the No Black and Noble bookstores, and passing out information, warning humanity of what was to come, and kind of standing in that vein. Right. And some of the things that are being done now, we were already doing, because why? We was expecting this to happen then. All right. So I don't know if it was training for me to see if I would be bold enough to go out there and talk about these things, despite nobody wasn't as open back then as they are now. See, right now, people are open to receive this information because they're visually seeing it. Okay. COVID was like a catalyst of this stuff. These elections became a catalyst of this stuff, and it caused and forced many, many, many to wake up. But during the time, like in the 80s and the 90s, we really didn't have that much. Okay, we had like the HIV scares, some flus that was going around, but it wasn't hammered to the collective about their freedoms the way that it is right now. So we were standing on our square then, okay? Some kind of way, these two timelines are still connected. I wish I knew, guys. I'm gonna be honest, I wish I could express it a lot better. So during this time, I was expecting to really be on the front line. Remember the dreams that I was telling some of you guys about, me the floods was coming, and me jumping in and out of the water and rescuing people. Even though I was on safe ground, I kept jumping back into the belly. Okay. I kept jumping back into the water. Well, I can't tell you now, if that was going on, in the timeline, or if it was symbolic for what it was that I was already doing. But I do know that in this season, I literally was removed from it. Okay. And placed onto a completely different reality or a completely different timeline. It's almost as if, yes, this is going to sound crazy. Yes, I'm going to say it anyway. But it almost feels as if I am observing from a place of safety and broadcasting into your realities. Okay? And I believe that I was taken out of that to be a part of the creative team. All right? So, no, you're not going to hear from my channel anything that's going on with the earth. Okay, you're not going to hear about the volcanoes. You're not going to hear about the solar flashes. You're not going to hear about the Schumann resonance. You're not going to hear those things on my channel. Okay, I'm very much aware of these things, and I do support those who teach it. Okay, but my downloads and my prophetic messages are more catered to spiritual development and the creation of the new earth. And anytime I try to tap in to figure out what is going on with the actual earth, I'm being told that's none of your concern. Okay? It's not going to affect you. Stay focused. Write your books. You know what I mean? Get your teachings out there. Get get things manifested, get things started, get the ball rolling. Okay? So this is why we're having two different experiences. Once again, it has nothing to do with some beings being greater and some beings being lesser. Okay? Like I said before, you have to be of high consciousness to stay in the belly of the beast. You have to. And not get lost. Okay? Because some people, if they were on that timeline, if they were dealing with the belly of the beast and they were not of high consciousness, they would get lost in it. Okay? We have lost some of our brothers and sisters. Let's be honest. We know we have. We know we have. Right? But we've also saved and brought up others as well. Don't get discouraged. Do what you're called to do. Now, for those of you who only get downloads about where the earth should be, how schools need to be run, whether or not you're going to do barter and trades, whether or not it's going to be cryptocurrency, how your government should be run or be purchasing land. If you're one of the beings that's what your focus is on, then chances are you are with the creator sides. Okay? The creative warriors. Okay? You are co-creating with the universe at this time to offset everything or anything that is going to be destroyed. And we want this to be a smooth transition so that we don't lose a whole bunch of people. Do you understand? We want this to be a smooth transition. We can't get a smooth transition unless both do their parts. All right? And we're not going to compare one's journey against another's journey. We're not going to compare one prophecy against another prophecy. We're going to take them as they come. And if it is a warning for humanity at that time, don't be afraid to speak it. And if you ask me, are you getting the same thing? And I say no, don't think that you're wrong. Okay? Just know what your assignment is and what your mission is. All right? Eventually, we're all going to connect or catch up or be on the exact same timeline. All right? These are they who are on their mission. Eventually, they'll get where you are. All right? But if you signed up to be in war, you're going to be in war. Well, not necessarily, because I signed up to be in war. But I don't know. I just kept getting messages, and this is going to be interesting. And maybe some of you divine feminines may have gotten these type of messages too. And if you have, please let me know, because I'm tired of feeling like I'm by myself in this. Okay? But I was getting messages that this was not my time to fight. That my fighting days were over. okay? And that I needed to be protected during this time. As I create and co-create with all of you, or those of you who are creating with me, manifesting with me, okay, that my fighting days, your fighting days are over. We're not here to do that, okay? We are here to build. And that's where your mind is going to be. All right? Now, for the prophets or the doomsday prophets, end time prophets, government prophets, stay encouraged. Just because you're talking about it, just because you can see it, does not mean you're going to experience it. Okay? You are speaking these things out because you are warning those who have the possibility to experience it. But you are still protected. Okay? As long as you are in alignment, you will still be protected during this time. Okay? You're just going to hold on a little bit longer. Do what you have to do a little bit longer. And then we will eventually all meet up together and continue to create this new earth. All right? That's all I wanted to say. I didn't want anybody to be discouraged. Okay? I wanted you to have understanding on these things. I am Sophie. I love you all. Oh, do not forget, help me with this. All right? Help me. I am Sophie, and I love you all.